everyone. Welcome back to the You Don't Understand podcast. So, for today's episode, I don't really have an idea of what to talk about. So, I'm honestly just going to ask you, Mama, what do you want to talk about today?
Yes. So, you know how you have been going through certain situations in your life. Last week also we spoke something related to what you are going through at that point of time. So, let's first start with the fact that how is your anxiety? Like, is it better? Whatever thought process or whatever perception you apply to it, has it made you feel little relaxed? And like, what has happened?
Definitely, I feel a lot better. It I'm not saying I'm like completely healed and I'm whole and all the situations that are happening in my life, like I can perfectly handle them, but I'm able to have a lot more awareness when I'm handling them. And I'm honestly glad you asked me that question because like now it's giving me the chance to like look back and I don't think I've had like that level of anxiety at all this week, like to be very honest.
So, what part of your understanding about, when we talk about spirituality and bringing the spiritual perception into life, what 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 do you understand by it? What is your understanding, or what part of that has helped you to be able to implement, apply to the situation and help you?
I think we've talked about this two-prong approach multiple times. It's the acceptance and the awareness, and they both go hand in hand. Um, I can definitely say right now I'm much more in my awareness phase, but through that awareness, I'm starting to learn and enter into my acceptance phase. Um, but I think that's what it truly means to me. Um, I don't even know when I would say I like started my spiritual journey, but over whatever period of time that is, definitely the awareness and the knowledge um that comes with that perspective has what's truly guided me. So aspects like, soul, like the bare bones aspects that I've always grown up listening to, soul, karma, dharma, moksha, like those things. And then from there, it's evolved into how these aspects play into your life. I think the big reoccurring one is the idea that, uh, souls or people, energies come into your life and they go into your, like, go out of your life. And that's just part of the journey. The whole learning to let go, like that type of stuff. I think right now that's what I'm focusing on the most.
You're focusing more on the let go part of it, but
Mhm.
the let go part comes quite later. It's more about being able to, the first thing is to
Mhm.
accept the way your life is. Like, it is what it is. Like, there, this is the reality. No matter how much ever you think in your head, it could be different, it could be this, it, I wish it could be that, but those are just thoughts that you wish or you hope.
Mhm.
But then there is something called as reality, that this is the reality and you cannot escape that. You cannot run away from it. And it is right on your face. You have to see it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the word called like the bare bone, the bones of the thought process, which is karma and soul and these kind of things.
Mhm.
For viewers, there could be some who are exposed to these words. There could be some, for them this could be like really gibberish or foreign language to even hear these words. So do you think your generation kids nowadays, not necessarily just Indian, like Indian origin, but someone who's just in a general thing, do you think people like you, your generation is more exposed to these kind of things, or no, this is like this whole karma and the whole spiritual aspect of it?
I think how would I put this? They're not more exposed to these types of things. I think the level of exposure, um, like through the family unit is not there, if that makes sense. I think in this day and age for my generation, a lot of kids that are on the more religious or spiritual side is because they've themselves found that path or found that way of life. I don't think it's because the family unit has established that way of life in them. I think like, growing up in India, I think these concepts are much more like introduced to you by your parents. I
Mhm,
don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think parents are, from my perspective,
mhm,
I'm not trying to like dog on any parents out there who think they're doing it or whatever, whatever, but I do agree with the idea, or the fact of the matter is that like I don't think parents are really talking about these aspects anymore. So
mhm,
if a child does find this path or this journey or this way of life, it's through their own accord.
mm. Okay. I know we thought that I would be asking certain questions, but I think organically it's taking its own flow, and let's just continue the flow, right?
Yeah.
Because I am coming from the space that there could be many children your age, like teenagers, who, as you rightly said, that probably they're not getting exposed from their family unit, but outside there's a lot of knowledge available. But then there is too much knowledge available, right? And then that can become very overwhelming, and then you don't even know what part of it you need to pick up to be able to implement in your current situation, because now there's an ocean of knowledge out there. So when you say soul or when you say karma, what is your understanding of it as your age or whatever you have figured out with your and my conversations or your own research? What is your understanding?
I will, preface this. When it comes to trying to explain soul, I have not been able to find the right way. Um, Not necessarily,
I wouldn't say define, but explaining what you connect with it. Like, what is your thought process with it when the word soul is used?
yeah. So for me, I see soul as the thing that energizes or is that energy that resides within this body. For me, it's very much if this energy did not exist, sure, this body would exist in the physical form, but nothing's running it, fueling it, powering it. None of that really is there if this energy and this frequency is not there to begin with. So that's kind of how my understanding of my connection with soul is. It's that. Plus, this might be taking it a step further. Um, the whole idea of every living and breathing thing shares the same energy. We're all parts of that one energy, one consciousness. And I think that understanding comes more because I was raised in a religion that is literally the bare bones core philosophy of it. Um, but I think that like that's kind of how I conceptualize what a soul is. In terms of
No, finish your thought.
in terms of karma, um, I always tell people that Newton's law, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. I kind of just take it from there. Like that's the way I've conceptualized it. For every action you take, there is a reaction. I'm not saying it's positive or negative, equal or opposite. For every action taken, there's an action in response. That's like, for me, that's like the law of the universe.
Okay. So then, do you believe in this thought that soul travels through many lifetimes and continues to take that journey?
Yes,
Do you
I
believe in that?
I do believe in that.
Where do you get that belief from? Like, what makes you believe that?
For one, that belief is what I grew up with. And two, it just makes the most sense. I don't really have like and that's like the tricky part with like, you know, spirituality or religion or anything. A lot of it is it's very much faith-based too. It's just something that makes the most sense to me that I have because there has to be a reason I'm going through what I'm going through right now. There's a reason certain people are in my life. There's a reason I've experienced certain experiences. There's a reason there's situations happen around me. There's a reason for these things. And looking at it from the perspective of, well, my soul has been through these lifetimes and has accumulated these karmas along these lifetimes. And that's where that idea comes in. Like for every action, there's a reaction that like I am reaping the reactions of my previous lifetime's actions in this lifetime.
So would you rather use the word like reaction, or would you rather use the word that every action that you take, there is a consequence to it in the end?
I would not want to say consequence because, you know, we are living in reality. Um, Consequence has a negative connotation to it. No matter how
Mm.
much you sit there and say you don't want to have like consequence by definition means that something has happened like it's just bad, right? There's just that connotation around it where it's like something negative has happened or something's bad happened. Like it's in its definition. That's why I don't like saying for every action there's a consequence because good and bad, yes, there's right and wrong, but and I'm not even going to get into that conversation of that being a little bit more subjective than most people realize, but I think the best way to put it is that there is a reaction.
Okay. So then you say that if you have some good in your life, then it is because over the past many lifetimes you have done some good um, karmic actions for you to be able to um, what do you say, experience the benefit or experience the good karmas.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. However, that's not how I like to say it.
And then how would you like to say it?
I would say that if this is the like experience I'm experiencing now, it's because I'm reaping the reaction of my actions in previous lifetimes. I don't like attaching good or bad or positive or negative when it comes to stuff like this because sometimes people can run away with that concept and use it as a cop out. I think it's very important for anyone who's on this path, my age, older, younger, whatever it may be, to realize that like what could be a good experience for you could be a terrible experience for me. What could be a terrible experience for me, or a good experience for me would be a terrible experience for you. I think really just giving it that bare bones set of words, like I'm just experiencing the reaction of my karma from previous lifetimes. I think that's the best way to put it.
Sometimes people go through like, okay, you have some situation that you have a relationship, it's not working out, or you wanted some career and you tried very hard, it didn't work out, those kind of things. But then there are some really really adverse situations that people go through, and their life is devastated. Would you think it would be fair for someone to bring the theory of karma to them and tell them that, oh, it's your karma, that's why you are experiencing what you are? See, when you're experiencing good things, nobody's questioning.
Mhm.
Like nobody's questioning that, oh, why am I getting all this goodness in this world? You just take it for granted that, oh, I'm just amazing, and so I'm getting all this.
Mhm.
But the fact is that you have done enough good karmas to be able to reap the benefits of it now in this present time.
Mhm.
But then when something adverse happens in your life, suddenly you're questioning that, why me?
Mhm.
Why me? Like, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? And in those adverse situations, how would you make someone who is not even exposed to these kind of things, what would you tell someone of your age that would bring some solace to them, or would be able to see it with a different lens or a different light? How would you even tell them that, hey, this is because of your karma from previous lifetimes?
Mhm. That's a great question. You're really putting me on the spot today.
Because I really want, see, you know what, I can sit here and give my thought process on it. And it might be okay for parents or people my age, that for that matter. But then I really want the younger generation to understand. I can definitely, because I've crossed the journey, I can give my understanding of where I started, how I was, and where I am, and how spiritually this wave has taken me and brought me here.
Mhm.
But most of your generation kids might probably not be able to relate to what I'm going to say, or
Mhm.
maybe some parts of it. But then I want to see how you are riding that wave and how is it helping. Maybe that would be much better for them. Am I boring you?
No, you're not boring me. It's late and I've been cleaning all day. Um, um, I guess to answer your question, if this is someone that hasn't been introduced to these kind of concept at all, I personally would not take that as the opportunity to introduce them to these concepts. It's not the right time. When they have to find that, they'll find it themselves. However, what I will say is I don't think you need to be necessarily spiritual to understand that things happen in your life for a reason that is out of your control. I think part of growing up, like logically and realistically thinking about it, part of growing up is learning how to start letting go a little bit of that control. And that starts with understanding and accepting that certain things you just can't control. It just is what it is. Things are going to happen to you. Good, bad, ugly, terrible, whatever it is, things are going to happen to you. And you still have to work on getting through it. That's the first part. That's the first part I'd tell them. Then I would probably explain. I would approach it from a growth perspective that clearly if this is happening in your life, it's because you have to learn something from it to grow, to become a better person, to keep going, to keep pushing yourself, to keep motivating yourself. There's a lesson to be learned. That is what you should focus on. Because again, you have to, for example, like if like someone in your life passes away, someone very close, part of the grieving process is learning how to move on. To understand and to even begin that journey, you have to bring yourself out of that perspective of like, why is this happening to me? Like, my life sucks, like all those things. And you have to shift your perspective into something that pushes you forward and, motivates you a little bit more. So definitely that's where I would take it, where it's like, what is the lesson that I could learn from this? Because in that way, that gives you that inherently is going to motivate you because it gives you a goal to work towards. Now you have a purpose and you're like, okay, I need to figure out what I can gain from, like, what I can learn from this. Let me work towards that. Let me keep, chugging along. Let me keep trotting along and figure out what I can learn from this situation. Everything I'm saying is very realistic, logical, objective. But if you have a sense of spiritual awareness, I think you would be able to listen to me and understand where I could input soul or karma or liberation or enlightenment in everything I just said. So that's kind of the perspective I would look at it as.
I'm very happy to hear this because it's like, I'm able to see your growth also while you are talking. Because I mean, of course we talk a lot, and when we talk, I'm the one talking more and you're the one listening more.
Yeah.
So today it's good, the roles are reversed and I'm able to hear you and see that you do have clarity. Like, one is, as you rightly said, that you have the process of one accepting your reality, and then after you accept the reality, then you have to understand, what am I going to learn from this situation, because it is a part of my growing. And once you focus on that, then comes the part of one feeling the emotions of whatever pain or suffering you're feeling. You don't have to reject them, because that's not good, because that will sit somewhere within you and it will bother you. So it's better to feel those emotions, be aware of those emotions. But then, while you're feeling those emotions, you should also be aware to let go that maybe this is not what is meant for me. Life is going to bring something different for me. Life has planned something different for me, and I have to trust that. I have to trust this process of evolving. I have to trust this process of growing up. I have to trust this whole process because my life decided to come on this earth,
Mhm.
take this beautiful body, whichever way it decided to. It is beautiful because that's how your life decided that it is going to have a female body or a male body, or it's going to have black color, or it's going to have like dark color or light color, or it can black hair or whatever. Like your life, your unique life created you as a unique person. There is no other person like you. So when that life has the power to create you, then it also has the power to take you where it needs to take you. You
Mhm.
just have to trust it. You have to trust it.
Yeah.
I think that trust within yourself is a very important and key factor of growing up, because people will come, people will go, situations will happen, situations will not happen, everything will happen, but in the end, who is the one who's standing is you,
Mhm.
with people or with no people, but you with your own life and life's purpose,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You will never leave yourself.
Yeah.
The only day you will leave yourself is the day your life decides to,
It's time to go.
it's time to leave this world, and you'll be a dead body.
Mhm.
Till the time, till that moment, life is your companion. Your own life is your companion. And that life has very beautifully planned the journey. You just have to have faith and trust in it
Mhm.
and patiently keep doing what you're doing. So, me being in this age where I have been through this journey, I can summarize it in this way that, hey, in the end, whether you are spiritual, you're not spiritual, it doesn't matter. What matters is, if I look back to my 20-year-old, and if I have to give some advice to that 20-year-old now, after I'm 50 now, so like 30 years ahead, I have already come. And with my life experiences, with spiritual experiences, I can say that in the end, you must connect to your own life within you,
Mhm.
because that life is the most precious thing. That life is the one that has uniquely created just one piece, that is you.
Mhm.
And your uniqueness cannot be judged by someone else's validation.
Mhm.
Your uniqueness is judged by the fact that I am unique because there is no one else like me on this earth. That's how precious I am to this life within me.
Mhm.
Whether I'm valuable to the world or not, it doesn't matter. But I am very valuable to the life that is within me. And then you trust that life. And that life has a purpose.
Mhm.
It has not created you just because it was bored and oh, I'm very bored, let me just create some body and let me just infuse myself into it and be born on this earth. No, that life came with a purpose,
Mhm.
and every human being must spend some time to understand what is the purpose of that life
Mhm.
and where is it taking you. There is, when you start looking and joining the dots, you will see that it is taking you somewhere. There is an undercurrent that is constantly working,
Mhm.
but we are so caught up in all the judgments around us, the conditioning of the society, because it wants us to be a certain way, and some people don't want it to a certain way. People are putting the weight of their expectations on you, be it friends, be it parents. Everybody's putting that expectation on you that you should be like this, you should not be like this, you should be doing this, you should not be doing this. And with all this, and then your career and this and that, and then now with social media, you're constantly feeling judged because you are not good enough, because either physically you're not looking pretty, or your hair is not the best one, or your weight, something or the other is always judging you,
Mhm.
and you feel the weight of that judgment. And that weight of that judgment never gives you an opportunity to disconnect from that surface and look deeper and see and look at your life, which is so beautifully created you, so uniquely created you, and it's taking you somewhere.
Mhm.
And be the companion of your life. And your life, let it be the companion of you, your true companion. No matter whoever leaves you or comes into your world or leaves you, your life is always going to be with you. And that is your biggest companion. But
Mhm.
unless and until you love that, you value that, you respect that, it doesn't even matter if the world respects or values or loves you, doesn't matter,
Mhm.
because you're missing the mark. So, so now let's come to the topic of letting go. I, it sounds like, oh, we should let go, but it's very difficult to let go of the control, because there's so much emotion attached to whatever you are experiencing. It could be an object, it could be a human being, it could be your pet, it could be anything, anything in your life. You are so emotional because you always attach with emotions, like mine. This is, I like, I want it. It's like your emotion is attached to it. How do you even decide to let go something? How?
Banger questions, by the way. You're really you're really asking the tough ones today. Um, I will speak to how I came to terms with the idea of letting go, which for our viewers out there, this was something I came to terms with very recently. Like I'm talking like the last 2 weeks. Um, um, the reason I decided that it was finally time to learn how to let go is because I was presented a situation in my life that I realized, was a learning lesson. But then I asked myself, like, why am I getting this lesson? Like for what reason? And I really sat there and I looked through, the last 10, 15, 10, yeah, 10-ish years. And I realized that this situation has happened to me before. And because I didn't learn my lesson then, it led to a lot of the issues I'm having in my life right now when it comes to my relationship with myself or my relationship with other people. And as much as it sucks having to let go, you kind of have to do, if you want to look at it from a more, objective perspective, you have to do a little cost benefit analysis and think about it. Do you want to sit there and make the same mistakes over and over again because you're too scared to let go and you're too fearful or insecure to let go? But then the cost of that is these situations are still going to happen in your life over and over again. Because at the end of the day, you still have to grow, you still have to learn. And the universe or life or your soul, whatever you want to believe in, is going to put you in these situations so that eventually you get it. So that's what I did. I did the cost benefit analysis and I realized that like I have to make sure I learn the lessons this time around. And I treat the situation with the sincerity and the awareness that I should have the first time around so that I don't have to go through whatever I'm feeling right now again.
Sometimes in this process, do you think it's very important to be honest with yourself?
Oh, for sure. You really have to sit there and you like the only reason I was able to come up with, this line of thinking is because I had to admit to myself that I didn't learn my lessons the first time. And that's a very hard thing to admit because the first time was like 7 years ago, and you would think in 7 years, I've learned my lesson, but I didn't. And again, like you said, acceptance. The first step is accepting that somewhere this is happening because you either messed it up the first time or didn't get it right the first time or didn't learn your lessons the first time, whatever it is. You have to be honest with yourself and pinpoint those things and learn to accept it.
So now, you know, again, as I always keep saying, that for you, it is definitely a grace and a privilege and a blessing that you have me, that we can sit and really go through those
The layers.
layers, right? But maybe not everybody has that opportunity. So, someone who's going through situations in life and they can see that there is a pattern that's happening, that somewhere or the other, the similar situations keep coming back. And no matter how much ever they try and they beat that situation, they overcome it and they feel good about it. And then within couple of months, again, the similar experience happens, there, it's very disheartening
Yeah.
for anyone. It is very disheartening, because then you want to trust your life, and then you don't have the trust because life is beating you up every couple of months, and you're like, okay, what is going on here? So how would you go through that exercise of really going within and in between those layers to really come to the core of what is the issue here? How would you even bring yourself to that point that, oh, okay, maybe this is the issue, this is where I need to um, heal myself, not fix myself, but probably heal myself. This is the thing that I need to figure out so that it doesn't keep repeating.
I think the issue with this generation, wow, I can't believe I said that. But I think
How
it's,
old are you?
yeah, whatever. I think the issue with people my age, people in this age, is when you ask them to introspect, the first thing they think is, oh, I have to figure out why I am the problem. And because they automatically attach that problem connotation, they're like, well, I don't want to sit there and have to admit that like there's a problem within me or I'm the problem. So I'm just going to ignore it altogether because my ego can't handle it. So I think the first understanding should come from when you are put in a position if where someone asks you to introspect or if life asks you to introspect. It's not because it's asking for you to figure out why you're the problem. You are in a pattern. Like you said, you are in a pattern. The question shouldn't be like I feel like the question should just stop at like why. Like instead of being like why am I the problem or why is this happening to me or why is this going just why. Like the first thing in your head should just be like don't overcomplicate it. Just ask why. Evaluate yourself. I think that's a better way to put it. Evaluate yourself and your own actions in the experience or situation that you're going through. And see and then evaluate like, okay, well, if I had done something different, or if I came at it from a different perspective, like, not in like an overthinking type of sense, but just like a if I was a certain way or if I thought a certain way and I reacted based off of that certain way, how would the situation go differently? And again, this is not asking for people to overthink like, oh, if I had done this and they would have stayed, or if I had done this and this wouldn't have happened to me. It's just evaluating your options and evaluating your own role in the experience. I think that's the way I would put it.
So, you know how it is that, um, like, say you want some job, very, like, you really tried very hard and you worked very hard for the job, and you were very sure about it, and then you don't get the job, unfortunately, and now you are like, oh my god, I'm a failure. I'm a failure first, right? Then you start blaming yourself first. So the only two emotions, either you will become the victim because you want to blame someone else, So you'll be like, oh, the system is like this, or they didn't realize how valuable I am, and blah, blah, blah. So either you will go into the victim mentality, or you will start blaming yourself that, oh, I am not good enough,
Mhm.
right? That's the only two things.
Mhm.
It's very rare moments where you be like, you know what? Oh, I'm perfect. I'm great. Oh, this didn't happen. I'll look for another one. Something else will come up.
Mhm.
There are people like that too, but they're very rare, very handful of people. We are talking about majority of people, and majority of people will go into these emotions. One, either they will blame the system or someone else, and they will be the victim
Mhm.
because that makes them feel better, right, to handle that emotion or that rejection, or they will start blaming themselves,
Yeah.
and then the guilt and the regret and all that stuff will start happening. So So now, even to sit there and then say that, oh, evaluate myself.
Mhm.
But if I'm already sitting with this emotion within me, either as a victim, then no matter how much ever I introspect or evaluate, um, I am still coming from a very prejudiced emotion.
Yeah.
If I'm going from a victimhood or from a guilt perspective that I'm not enough, something is wrong with me, like as you just said, that I'm the problem, then again you're going with a very prejudiced mind. And no matter how much ever you evaluate or introspect, you will still be in the same space.
Mhm.
So, how do you come to a neutral space and you look at the situation just the way it is, and then see your role into it? So that neutrality, because if you are going to go with a prejudiced emotion, no matter how much ever you evaluate, in the end the outcome is going to be what you wanted. Either you will come out of it by blaming the other person and you will feel like a victim completely and you will justify it, or you will come out of it with so much guilt and regret that you don't want to even face the world anymore because you are so into your own regret and guilt. How do you think someone can detach or come to that neutral space where they like, no, let's just look at the situation?
The only reason those other emotions would come is if you have failed to accept that what has happened has happened. You're only going to be able to be neutral to a situation when you have let the feelings of either anger, enjoyment, happy, sad, whatever it is, pass. So you first should be in total acceptance that this situation has happened and end of sentence. Period. Bus. Ho gaya. That's the end of the situation. A situation is
Bus ho gaya is a very Hindi way of saying it. You might want to tell
yeah, no,
what.
I realized that. Guys, I'm so sorry. I can't code switch. I can't code switch. But yeah, like I was saying, you first have to be in total of acceptance that whatever has happened has happened. That is the only way that you can approach any situation with any semblance of neutrality. Because if you cannot accept that something has happened and it is what it is, then you're already either sitting there thinking that it's good or it's bad. That's just kind of how the way life works. So
So this statement, because remember when you were growing up, you were always saying, life is so unfair, life is so unfair, right? Has that statement changed for you in any ways?
it has.
What would be your statement now with your understanding and your experiences in life?
I don't want to say this out loud because you're gonna. I would say that life is very beautiful. Life is very, very beautiful. And the only way you will understand or realize that life has so much to offer is when you accept life to be what it is.
Very nice. I'm very proud of you. I'm really very happy and very proud of you. And I'm just so, it's really amazing to see that you are getting that clarity. even with this clarity, it can be very difficult to maneuver through life, because,
Definitely.
but it's much more easier. It's like, someone not being like a surfer, when they begin to ride the waves, it's so difficult. They keep falling, they keep falling. But at some point, they do learn to ride the waves. And then it's not that the waves are not difficult. The waves are always going to be difficult because that's the nature of the wave. But you have finally figured out how to ride it.
Mhm.
You don't fall, and even if you fall, you know how to pick up and gather yourself and again move on.
Mhm.
I guess that is what this whole spirituality or connecting to your life, that is what it will do for someone. It's not going to take away your problems because that's just the nature of life.
Mhm.
The nature, like, how the nature of something sweet is supposed to be sweet.
Mhm.
The nature of salt is to be salty. It cannot be tasted as sweet.
Yeah.
The nature of green color is supposed to be green color. It cannot become black or red, right? So, the same way, the nature, the flavor of life is that it will bring situations in your life. It's not unfair. It's not trying to do things because it wants to be fair to someone, unfair to someone. It's just how life is.
Mhm.
But if you learn to ride the waves of life, then life is very beautiful. It is a fun journey. It is a fun journey.
Mhm.
Then even the falling, like the pain or sometimes the suffering that you have, is also with the awareness that you enjoy riding that wave.
Mhm.
You enjoy falling and getting up and then picking up and riding the wave again. It's literally like that. So I guess with today's episode, I'm sure we over
We are
time.
way over time.
But it's good. It's good. We are not coming from the space, or we have to be like this. That's the whole point why we're doing this so casually, that we really want to come from a space of being authentic. So I guess today's episode we can end here, that one, life is absolutely worth living. Life is very beautiful. Life is just the way it is. It's the flavor of life. It's going to bring waves over waves over waves. All someone needs to do is to learn to physically and emotionally ride the waves of life.
Mhm.
And that is a beautiful journey,
Mhm.
from beginning to learn to finally learning to ride the waves of life. And I guess we can end the episode here today.
Yes. All right. Definitely we can end here. Once again, thank you everyone for watching, for supporting us. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, leave we do check the comments. I promise we do. I do. I promise. So if there's any time a topic that you guys want to hear us talk about, please let us know. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope it helps even one soul. I think we have done the job and it is worth it. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.